There is a type of dangerous poison silently choking the heart of France. Are you dazzled by the €45 million mansions in Saint-Tropez? Look at the harsh reality behind it. Around 15% of residents are living in extreme poverty, with the wealth gap stretched to 6 times. In Paris and Nice, the Airbnb phenomenon has effectively vampirized the cities, draining the vitality of local residents, turning glamorous central districts into sleeping deserts, and pushing vacancy rates to alarming levels of over 10%. When this pillar of tourism, which accounts for 7.2% of GDP, begins to waver, the economic miracle can quickly turn into a nightmare. Precious destinations like Lourdes may remain only as ruins of abandoned hotels, while paradise resorts risk turning into high-rise slums plagued by neglect and structural decline. Is France setting itself ablaze in pursuit of a smoke-free tourism economy? Let's dissect the iconic areas nearing economic strain. Once a symbol of an economic miracle based on faith, Lourdes now appears to be witnessing the end of an era. It was once the city with the second highest density of hotels in France after Paris. Today, it resembles a museum of failure more than a sanctuary. From 2019 to 2024, more than 1,100 hotels across France have disappeared, and Lourdes sits at the center of this trend. Small accommodations with fewer than 30 rooms, once the soul of the town, can no longer withstand energy costs that have surged to as much as 8% of revenue. Around 25% of businesses in the sector are unable to repay pandemic-era debts, raising concerns of a chain collapse. On Boulevard de la Grotte, the main road leading to the Sacred Cave, abandoned structures stand as reminders of economic fragility. Hotels like the once active establishments, now closed for safety reasons, highlight the struggles of owners. The average net profit in the industry has dropped to just 3%, too fragile to sustain long-term stability. When hotel lights go out, surrounding streets fall silent. The social consequences are even more severe. Workers in the sector often lack transferable skills. If tourism declines, they have limited alternatives. Thousands of families risk falling into poverty, and large empty buildings may gradually deteriorate into neglected urban spaces. Leaving Lourdes behind, we move south to Saint-Tropez, a place where extreme wealth conceals deep inequality. While luxury yachts fill the harbor and beach clubs generate millions annually, the benefits rarely reach the workers behind the scenes. Despite its image of wealth, poverty rates here have reached around 15%. The richest 10% earn 6 times more than the poorest 10%. Skyrocketing property prices have pushed locals out, forcing them into surrounding areas where infrastructure is weaker and investment is limited. In winter, Saint-Tropez becomes eerily quiet, with closed shops and minimal activity. The local purchasing power for lower income is extremely limited, highlighting a stark imbalance. If luxury tourism slows, the region risks not only economic decline but also social fragmentation. Moving to Normandy, Mont-Saint-Michel attracts up to 1.2 million visitors annually. Yet most stay only a few hours, contributing little to the local economy while placing pressure on infrastructure and the environment. Local life has diminished, replaced by souvenir shops and short-term commercial activity. If visitor numbers decline, the site risks becoming a ghost destination with limited permanent community presence. In Paris, particularly in central districts, short-term rentals have transformed neighborhoods. The increase in Airbnb listings has contributed to rising rents, pushing residents out and reducing everyday local life. Shops that once served communities are being replaced by businesses catering primarily to tourists. This shift risks creating urban deserts, areas that are lively during the day but empty at night. A decline in tourism could leave many properties vacant due to unaffordable rental prices for locals. Carcassonne presents another challenge. While tourism supports a significant portion of the workforce, visitor spending remains relatively low. Even small declines in tourism can heavily impact the local economy, exposing its dependence on a single sector. In Chamonix, climate change is affecting winter tourism. Shorter snow seasons are forcing heavy investment in artificial snow systems. As temperatures rise, the long-term viability of ski tourism becomes uncertain, putting real estate and local businesses at risk. In Provence, picturesque villages face rural desertification. High numbers of second homes mean many properties remain empty for much of the year. Younger residents are leaving due to high costs, while aging populations put pressure on local services. Nice is experiencing growing tensions linked to tourism and housing pressures. Rising rents and increased short-term rentals have pushed residents out of central areas, leading to social frustration and demographic shifts. Versailles attracts millions of visitors, yet many spend little time or money outside the palace. This creates a fragile local economy that depends heavily on external tourism flows. Finally, Corsica stands as one of the most tourism-dependent regions, with tourism contributing up to 31% of GDP in some areas. While it creates jobs, it also introduces instability, especially due to reliance on transport costs and seasonal demand. If tourism declines, unemployment could rise sharply, leaving behind unfinished developments and economic strain. France has long been seen as a symbol of cultural and historical continuity. But across these regions, structural challenges are emerging. The issue is not tourism itself, but overdependence on it. When economies rely heavily on external visitors, they become vulnerable to global changes, from economic downturns to environmental pressures. The real question is not whether tourism will continue, but whether a more balanced and sustainable model can emerge, one that supports both economic vitality and local communities.